Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. We are your hosts,
Jessica.
and I am Chris Eaton. And yes, look at this. If you're listening to us on our normal feed, you're hearing the show as normal. But if you're on YouTube, you're actually seeing Jessica and I in action talking about the wonder and excitement, because today is a special day. It's Christmas, Thanksgiving, and the Lower Oakland Roller Derby all rolled into one for us fans today. What day is it today, Jessica?
It's Godzilla Day, or Happy Birthday, Godzilla.
Good. Yeah, my goodness, today was the day that kept giving. Actually, to be fair, because international timelines, last night into today, they kept giving. So if you were, so Jessica and I are on the West Coast, so we were, we have a slight advantage because it's only, I think, like an 8-hour difference between here and Japan. So everybody on the East Coast as I was watching the updates come on Twitter, people were like, I am passing out. I need to see the Gigan film at the end of the day. And when it was posted, like, it'll air at 5:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, people were like, all right, I'm tapping out. I'm going to bed. I'll see it in the morning. But for those of us who stayed up, those of us who were strong enough to say we saw some wonders and majesty, and I'm happy as heck that Toho has embraced this as a yearly tradition. It's a wonderful capper because we are 3 days removed from Halloween. And we are, as I say, deep into the holiday season now, Jessica. We've passed the first lap. It goes Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and then we wrap it up with New Year's. New Year's is the capper, and then back to the drudgery of life. So to have this
some people, it's Lunar New Year.
That's true. Okay,
Lunar
that's
New
true.
Year,
That's true.
and then it's the end, and then Valentine's Day. You're either happy or sad that day, so that day don't count. And then it's Lunar New Year if you celebrate it.
So you get Lunar New Year, and then if it's a Valentine's Day and you got something, you're happy. But if not, you're hearing Gary Jules' Mad World play in your head. So yes, last I think post since now that we're post COVID, Toho has gotten all in on turning this day into almost a national holiday in Japan, which actually might be some sort of like recognized day out there now. But they go all in, and here on the state side, they've been following through. Toho's American office has done their best, their absolute best at making this day worthwhile. There's been a lot of fun surprises today, stateside, a lot of awesome merchandise stuff we're going to talk about. And some gigantic news that was dropped, like out of left field for many, but for a few. If you were following rumors on the internet last year, there was talks of a secret project being filmed early last year, and people were like, I wonder what that could be. Well, we found out. So we'll get to that in a second. Jessica, how was your Godzilla day?
It was really good. I had, for some reason, forgotten time zones. This is what happens when you're in COVID for 3 years. I think for some people, we still feel like we're in it. I think it all kind of just depends, but the world is still there. I had to add Tokyo to my world clock because you texted me and you were like, it's 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. I'm like, what am I doing during those? I mean, I'm awake, but I was like, what is happening? So it was actually really, really good. I really enjoyed seeing everything that was coming out, and mostly people's reactions to it. Like how fandom was reacting to it, because I will say, with the exception of like 1 or 2, it is mostly joy. And I believe that some people really looked forward to this because of the last couple of years. So I was really, really excited. I've already had several people ask me what I think about what the film will be about, which we'll talk about later. And honestly, I don't mean this in a negative way. I mean this as when you have no expectations, you can never be disappointed.
That is
so
I live by those words.
It's just entertainment. And then you enjoy. I mean, it has to be something truly god awful for you. If you go into Godzilla and you end up coming out watching a teddy bear movie, then sure, I think expectations are not met. But if you go into Godzilla and you come out with Godzilla, then I think it's met, at least for me. So I feel like there's definitely, like, some Godzilla is better than no Godzilla. So I actually think the day went really well. I think people are very excited. I know that people were on different company sites that we'll be talking about to look into kind of what they have. And there were a couple things that I didn't see coming that were announced that I thought were really wonderful and a great way to expand, especially in the age of social media.
So if you were out there today, many people were celebrating by watching movies at home. Shout Factory on their stream, which I turned on as I was doing some YouTube stuff in the background. They were running a marathon all day, so I pretty much watched the tail end of Godzilla's Revenge, and which by the way, kudos to Shout Factory, because they actually when they air, for the most part, they air the original Japanese cuts. So you're getting like the original language. So my brother walked in, he's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's Godzilla's Revenge." He's like, "Wait, why doesn't Mania sound like a dorky old man?" I'm like, "Because this is the original, and he actually sounds like a little kid, like he's supposed to."
Yeah. And Pluto was also having, right? Pluto was. I don't use Pluto. Yeah,
I watched it through Pluto. Pluto is
okay.
If you don't want to use regular TV, like for me, Pluto was a godsend during the like the deepest part of the lockdown, because they have a Mystery Science Theater channel on there, and when no one was like, those first 2 weeks when we're like, is the virus knocking on our door? I'm like, I got a massive DVD collection. I started chipping away at stuff, but I'm like, I can only watch so much movie. Like you need something to, like, that comfort food in the background.
Yeah.
And I have burned through American Dad so much. I'm like, I need something new. So I was going through my Roku. I'm like, let me look at this Pluto channel. An entire channel dedicated to Mystery Science Theater. And, I found out, eventually they only run like batches of 20 episodes at a time, but a lot of stuff I hadn't seen. So they've really jumped up there. They added Tokusatsu in that time. So you pop on at any time of the day. There's Kamen Rider running now. There is old Sentai shows, new Sentai shows. They show the newer Ultraman stuff. So those are always fun, but Shout's actual line, because they are doing a special presentation with John Carpenter. So each night Carpenter's introducing a movie and talking about it and all that good stuff. So I watched that, and I got to watch most of Smog Monster in the background, which I'm like, that's always a good time. So freaky dancing skeletons, and Godzilla just getting whomped. Like, again, watching, I'm just like, this movie is wildly violent. Like, I'm trying to remember the last time, like, if they ever showed Godzilla just literally that messed up, and I cannot recall. And like, that is the most, like, again, it's part of that movie's wild in many ways, but it is a personal favorite, nuttiness aside. But other people, if you have an Alamo Drafthouse in your vicinity, we're seeing Godzilla in 4K, like you and I were last year this time.
Yes.
In fact, my Facebook memories just popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. We were watching Godzilla last year with Godzilla.
Yeah. Hi, TJ.
TJ. Yep. Again, just sitting there, I'm just like,
it's so surreal.
Life is awesome. So you could be doing that, or AMC and Regal were showing Godzilla against Mechagodzilla for the first time, and American screens. Like, the only one I have not seen of the Millennium films on the big screen, but I don't know if you're listening, it's my least favorite of them all. So I decided to skip it tonight. Yeah, that's I don't have a Godzilla movie I don't like. I have ones I will watch. Like, if I plan to power through them all. There's one or two that I'll be like, okay, I'll watch that. But look, there's no such thing as a bad Godzilla movie, but there's one that I'm like, this is a little boring. So, and that is for me. I get such like vitriol from people like, how can you not like that one? I'm like, there's not a lot that goes on in it. I am a guy that defends Godzilla versus Megaguirus to the death, though. So I also get like, they're like, you're nuts. I'm like, yep, I have my taste. So hopefully all of you out there. I'm sorry. So hopefully all of you out there who got to see on the big screen, for many people, possibly their first Japanese film on the big screen. So kudos to you guys. Hopefully you guys had a good time. I heard some of the projections were a little iffy. But they had some surprises. They showed the Godzilla versus Hedorah short from last year's Godzilla Day as part of it. And I guess there was some other behind the scenes stuff that was, I think, a DVD feature that they added to it. So again, the fact that this is being made into a big deal, 5-year-old me would have been screaming for my parents to take me to all this stuff. So now that I'm a 38-year-old man, I'm like, my cup overfloweth. And man, it is not only is it overflowing, it's a fountain now of stuff. There's so much stuff coming out, Jessica.
There is. I feel like there are people that are torn. They want it to be a celebration day and not a merchandise day, which I also understand. But also there's always a part of us, like consumerism, like Christmas is about the spirit, and now it's about people fighting each other at a Macy's aisle trying to get something before Christmas. Yeah. However, I do feel like, as someone who grew up with many years without Doctor Who, the dark times, and years in between not having a Batman film because of the last two, right? And something is better than nothing. There's going to be an oversaturation to some for a time, but then you never know, because in the future it might dry up or something might happen, or, like we don't know, right? And I rather just take what I have now.
Look, Godzilla's gone through 2 literal breaks, almost 10-year breaks. Yeah. Actually, a 10-year break for one, and almost a 10-year break for the other, because between Final Wars and the American and the Legendary film was 10 years. So yes, there are dry spells, and that's why I tell these kids, like, appreciate what you got, because you know what, when you're complaining about the fact it's like, Black Adam, it was okay. I'm like, 5-year-old me would have been, there's a Black Adam over like the myriad of other characters that has Hawkman and Dr. Fate in it. I'd be like, my dad would have dragged me there, and he would have sat there and it's like, I never thought I would have seen this in my day. Enjoy it. That's what I tell these people.
Atom Smasher? Did you think you were going to see Atom Smasher in it?
No, I thought the only Atom Smasher we were going to get was either in the cartoon or the so-so effect one from season 2 of The Flash. Not the literal, like, oh my God, he looks amazing. By the way, if you can't tell, I actually really loved Black Adam. It's a big, goofy comic book movie. Yes, it's not perfect by any means, but my God, I had a good time. And seeing Hawkman and Dr. Fate just hammer it out the park. Like, my God, not to get too deep, but I want to. Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate. Magnificent casting. He was awesome. But was it Aldous Hodge? Is that his name?
Aldous Hodge, yes.
Aldous Hodge?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love this guy. 900 Hawkman movies with this dude. He was awesome. Like, not only that, like, everything about, like, the way he carried himself in that movie, just a no-nonsense hero, dude. And not only that, but the fights between him and Black Adam, I'm like, there was the 5-year-old in me, like, was just like, oh my God. Like, I had a blast. I took my grandmother, my 93-year-old grandmother, to go see it. I saw it once already. And she's like, I want to go to the movies. Well, what do you want to go see? I want to go see Black Adam. I'm like, okay, you want to go? Well, I'll take you. she sat there. She knows who The Rock is. She loves The Rock. I'm like,
Okay,
this
okay.
is a superhero movie, right? She's like, oh, okay, yeah. We got it up. She's like, how did they do that movie? Oh my God, that should win an Academy Award for all the action. My God, that had to have been so expensive. I'm like, yeah, it's not cheap, but I'm like, did you follow? She's like, oh yeah, it was fantastic. She loves action movies. I've taken her to every Fast and the Furious movie since Tokyo Drift. So she's seen everything, and she loves those movies. She absolutely adores them. So, so walking out, she's just like, I can't get over how they made him float he was flying the whole time. I'm like, yep, that's the power of The Rock right there. So,
and as a quick drop, Darnell Isom, who's been on our podcast before, he designed the suit for Hawkman.
Oh my God, that thing is a work of art.
Yeah,
absolute work of art.
And then made his son a little version.
I saw that.
His son has one on their Instagram and stuff like that.
That made my Grinchy heart grow. That made my Grinchy heart grow 3 times its size. But I could sing praises. Look, I just want my comic book movies to be comic books, unless you're adapting like an Alan Moore book that's super serious in tone. But I just want my superheroes to be superheroes. That's it. And it gave me everything that I wanted. But again, going back to the idea of it's you go in expecting something. Like, I'm not expecting high caliber art from Black Adam. I'm going for a good time. I'm going to see The Rock yell Shazam. And yes, and it had a blast. So I'm sorry, I digress because
no, it's okay. This is amazing because this whole point, The Rock ends up in everyone's conversation.
Yes, he does. There will be, I guarantee, because again, the joke was for the longest time, he's franchise Viagra. There is not a doubt in my mind that one day someone's not going to, if this MonsterVerse keeps going, and then they start kind of weighing, it's like, let's throw The Rock in there. He's already done a big monster movie. I could see him. They're like, yeah, you're going to revitalize everything. Honestly, I wouldn't if he's in there, or you put Nick Cage in a Godzilla movie, like I could die happy, Jessica. I could die happy. So,
oh my goodness,
no regrets in life, absolutely none. So, but I digress. Anyway, back to Godzilla Day and all the wonderful madness that was out of this. If we're talking about insanity, so in Japan they have a gigantic festival. This year was outdoors, which was very surprising. I don't think last year was out. I think last year was a private thing. I don't think they actually had crowds yet because they still were under COVID protocols. So this year, I think from what I saw online and people who were there and tweeting and live streaming it, it was a big deal. They had props out there. They had a big sound stage and everything. And opening ceremonies, and not only that, 2 live streams are going on. One, all the news they were breaking at the actual event, plus the short films. Second, a live stream dedicated just to the merchandise, which was insane to me. I'm like, this is how far we've come. I love it. We live in a glorious world. So the festivities started. 68th birthday, they're like Happy Godzilla Day. They're technically celebrating the 70th anniversary of Gigan. And there are a few things. They had a couple of the suits out there already. So there was the classic 54 suit running around, which looked great, taking pictures. They had the little chibi cartoony Godzilla running around taking pictures of people too. And they showed a few things, and then they came out swinging. And not only did they swing, they hit that ball out the park into the next county, and it broke someone's car window. I did not expect this. I expected maybe an announcement for Singular Point Season 2. I expected maybe they would show something of maybe they'd be working with Warner's on whatever, or Legendary and whatever projects they're working on, like Monarch or something. No. We're out the gate. Brand new Toho produced movie. Not only that, it's not just like, oh, hey, we're making this. It's made and it's coming out 1 year from today.
Yes.
1 year from today. Like even Shin Godzilla didn't go that. They announced that thing like 18 months to almost like 2 years before it actually was released. Like it was like late 2014.
Yeah. And then it was released in 2016 after Comic-Con. I remember that, which is in July for those who don't know. San Diego Comic-Con's in July. Because right after Comic-Con, I had a 1-day downtime, and then I flew to Japan for the premiere of the film, and it was so hot. All I could talk about that entire trip was the weather. I was telling Chris my comfortableness is 78 to 82. I mean, I'll survive anywhere, but it was so hot, which is also why I'm drinking water. It's very warm. It's cold here, cold in LA times, but both Chris and I have heaters on. It's just hot where we're at, so you're going to see us drink a lot of water. However, it was very hot, and so that's why I know it's in July. I know it's in July because I remember the heat. That was Shin Godzilla. This time, yes, you are correct. It will be released in November, on November 3rd, 2023, which is also Godzilla Day. So like 1 year from now, make it,
It'll be the 69th anniversary.
69th anniversary.
I would assume that they're going to use that to catapult as the 70th anniversary film. Godzilla vs. Kong 2, whatever it's going to be called, we know it's a direct sequel at this point, is going to be released that year. So I don't know. Maybe that's why they announced that date and not like in the actual 70th anniversary, because the legendary film will be coming out there. So I think that it again, because that date, I'm like, man, that's only a year. I'm like, why wouldn't they wait another year for that? I'm like, oh, and then I remembered the Godzilla vs. Kong 2 sequel. So I don't think they probably want 2 movies simultaneously out at time, knowing whenever their thing is. And one's a big Hollywood blockbuster, so they can just parlay that. But this, no. This not only did they announce it, and they didn't show us anything yet other than a little symbol. A little symbol, just a G, like brush. But much like that Shin Godzilla teaser when they first released it, when there was all the little, it was the footprint, remember, for the Shin Godzilla line?
Yes.
It was, and there's little things inside there basically hinting at what was to come. It was, we ended up getting like this zombie Godzilla with all that kind of junk on him. This one, I've been looking at that design for like the last 24 hours. I'm just like, I think the design is hidden in there. And I say this because the director that was announced for it is actually the guy I've been singing this man's like praises for years, ever since I sat in a little movie theater in Irvine in 2002 and watched a movie called Returner, which was a stylized like sci-fi film that was amazing. I'm like, this is awesome. This guy needs to make a Godzilla movie. And then a few years later, back in 2007, he made a little movie, a sequel to a very, very popular movie that he won an Academy Award for called Always, Sunset on 3rd Street Part 2. And it opens, and this is in the downtime of Godzilla, with a fantasy sequence of Godzilla attacking Tokyo. And it was the first time, I believe, that it was a fully rendered CG Godzilla in a Japanese film. And it looked, for 2007, it looked awesome. And it's been that thing for years, because this gentleman we're talking about is Takashi Yamakaze. And he is a big name in Japan. I have heard comparison that he is Japan's George Lucas, because he's also been spearheading a lot of digital effects out there. He actually, if my memory recalls, his studio is actually the ones that did the CG effects for Shin Godzilla. So he's already had his hand on that stuff. Earlier last year, there was a ride that opened in Japan, the Godzilla ride, which, if you have not seen you can see past I got the figure sitting there past my little lamp. It's just sitting there. Ignore that. Which, if you've not seen it, my God, it's amazing. And not only that, but they did the thing, Jessica. They did the Fred Flintstone ride down the tail off. And the footage is up. We'll put it in the show notes if you have not seen it yet. But it's awesome. It's amazing, and the design on those monsters are just I love. It's one of my absolute favorite Godzilla designs. The big, bulky, like it looks like it's an amalgam of the best of some of the legendary touches with the 90s Heisei stuff. He's just this jacked like Godzilla. So he directed that stuff, which now makes a little sense because that now feels like we're warming up for something big here. And he actually designed. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
He actually designed both of those Godzillas in his 2 projects so far. So I'm going to assume that he's very hands-on with this design as well, which that's why I'm looking at that silhouette. I'm like, long tail, and it looks like big spikes, but not like your normal spikes. You know, again, I might be reading too much into it, but I'm an obsessed nerd, and this is the first movie in 6 years, the first live action movie in 6 years. Actually, wait, hold on. 7, 18, 19, 20, 22. So it'll be 7 years when it comes out in Japan.
Okay.
But like, like. This is big because not only that, this man, like, okay, so he does everything. Like this guy's done everything. He directs animated films, and he directs live action, and I think he's done a few docs as well. But he does a lot of effects heavy stuff as well. You'll know him out here for Returners 1. He directed the Parasite live action films from a couple of years ago. And he directed Space Battleship Yamato back in 2010. And then most recently, last year, he directed the CG Lupin the Third movie. Yeah. So that was
and I will actually say earlier when Chris was speaking, I was looking at my phone. I wasn't being rude. I wanted to check myself before I wreck myself because I told Chris this, but I wanted to just double check. He also did Stand By Me Doraemon.
Yes.
Which is about a blue robotic cat. So that's one of my personal favorites. I love Doraemon. So
did you watch that Doraemon? You saw that Doraemon movie, right? Okay.
I did. And so I was already on board. Of course, my friends were like, I don't know what a blue robotic cat has to do with Godzilla. And I was like, that man did Doraemon. I'm in. And it was very well received. It was very well received.
How was that Doraemon? Because Doraemon has like 48 films at this point. How was that one? That one I've not seen. So because
I do like that one a lot. It's one of the highest grossing ones, and also Doraemon is like even almost at like Hello Kitty world. Like Hello Kitty is more global. Doraemon is one of the biggest franchises in all of Asia. They have Doraemon Day in like various other countries outside of Japan. The robotic cat is one of the biggest franchises. So many of its merchandise. So I know all about it. All about him and his little family. So when I saw that, I was like, everyone else was like, oh, he did Lupin, he did Godzilla the right. Like I went Doraemon. Yes. I'm in. So my priorities. So I was very excited when they had announced that. Also, stupidly, I keep thinking of Japanese characters and symbols. Saw the tail. My eyes saw the tail. And then the rest, I was like, okay, it's going to be for interpretation. Didn't realize it was a G until you said it right now. Because in my mind, I'm thinking about Japanese characters and Japanese symbolism because it's from Toho. I don't know why I didn't just realize it was a G till right now. It's too many years of COVID. My brain has slowed.
You don't feel bad. I get those pictures of like, can you see the leopard in this picture? I'm just like, what? And then I'm like, all right, I tap, and someone has to circle right there. I'm like, I would have been dead. All right, yeah, I can't see the thing. Don't feel bad at all. I've looked at things directly. I'm like, believe me, it took me a long time to realize Kia changed their freaking their logo. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what's a Cayenne? Like the way that they, I'm just like, oh, it's a Kia. No, I don't like that. I don't like it. Bothers my brain. I'm like, no, it's not registering right.
Yeah,
so, But so back to this. So huge news.
Yes.
Takashi Yamakaze, big name. I think if outside like going with Anno the first time, with the relaunch, I think that was a big bet. No, like Anno's huge in Japan. Him doing a Godzilla movie was big, and it paid off in dividends for Toho. So the only other name that was batted out there that I many hardcore fans of Asian cinema were like, it's Yamakaze. Like I was actually aiming for this dude when they announced Shin Godzilla. I'm like, Yamakaze's the guy. Like I didn't even think Anno was even in consideration at the point. And when they announced, man, you can go back and listen to that episode. I'm just like, oh wow, hell has frozen over. So Yamakaze finally getting his shot. And not only that, but there has been a little snippet of at least when the film takes place, and it takes place in post-war Japan. So it's going to be a period piece. It sounds like it's going to be in the late 40s, like not even in the 50s. So this is like brand new territory for, and especially an official canon like Godzilla story. So it's going to be very interesting. I do wonder, it's just going to be another solo outing, like, or they're going to, do something else. But that's the fun. We now have one whole year of waiting and debating. Like in a day and age when everyone's like, yeah, here's some new Marvel news and here's some new Game of Thrones news. It's just like, it's just so. I'm just like, no. I got something I can look forward to. Like I'm like, should I look at the leaks? No. I want to be but wait, but this is like I've been that particular Godzilla, that trip when you went to see Shin. This is a personal story. Jessica and I were at G-Fest that year, and on Thursday night, and she had gotten the word like, I gotta go to Japan. Hey, I got an extra ticket. Do you want to come with me? And just everything came flooding because it was like a free plane ride to Japan. And I'm like, how long? It's like, like 5 days. We're gonna go watch Godzilla. And I was doing this in the corner, and like, because I'm like, I gotta be responsible and go to work. And I'm already taking off 4 days for G-Fest and then another 4 days for Comic-Con. They're not gonna let me just take off for 2 weeks to Japan. She's like, oh, that's fine. I'll find someone else. And that gutted me. It was gutting. The defeat, like very few times. That was up there with like my first crush when I was like 12, like going, that was, I'm like, in hindsight, had I known what it was coming with my job, I would have told my job to suck it. I would have quit, and I would have been on that damn plane with you, seeing that movie. Next year, I'm not missing out on this again. I am making it my life's. I'm making it my life's ambition this year to get to Japan. I will be my large oversized ass will be in that Japanese theater seat. I will be watching that movie on Godzilla Day. I am making that proclamation right now, come hell or high water. If I'm in a coma, I'm telling you to tell my family, ship my carcass across the seas, prop me up, because I will be there. I am not missing out on this. The fact that it's on Godzilla Day 2 is so apropos. I'm like, no, this is going to, and not only that, next year is going to be the announcement for all the 70th anniversary stuff. So it's going to be massive. So I'm doing everything I can. If you're listening to it and you want to help Justin and I go, all you have to do is support our YouTube page. That's it. We're putting up tons of content. We're not asking to give us money. We're asking you just watch our nonsense and listen to our show and listen to me ramble, and Jessica politely let me ramble. But
and if you go, we will obviously have content for you.
Oh my God, no, we are going ham. If I get out there, we're going hard. We are going hard. Going to that zip line. We are going to Akihabara. We're going to Kaiju Sakaba. We're going to everything, because I am like one of like 3 people left in our friends group that has not been to Japan ever. And it's been a lifelong dream. So I am making it's on the record now. So if I'm not there next year, barring me missing all 4 limbs and in a coma, Everyone listening has the
Oh
permission
God.
to publicly shame me. That's it. You can rip me a new one because I am already being boastful and making an ass out of myself right now. But at hell or high water, I will be there. So, especially for this movie. Especially for this movie.
Yes, and this time, what you did get to miss out, you didn't have to suffer through, Shingajira, was me complaining about how hot it was. For like days straight, I was trying to hold it in, but my best friend Sam ended up going, I guess, in places new, but he's fine. He does heat. He does any weather fine. He does any weather. He's great. I was like, good God, it's so hot. I was only happy like at night because it's like the dry, humid heat, so I could still wear shorts at night. But it was so hot. I was like, never again will I go to Japan in the summer. I actually had Japanese friends that I told excitedly. I'm still very grateful, very excited to go. And when I told them I was going in the summer, they laughed so hard. And then said, why do you think we're here is LA? They go, why do you think I'm here? Why do you think I moved here? And then they'll pat me on the back and was like, good luck.
Yeah.
Like even they are like, no, we're not going back. So it is hot. It's hot because when you're in Tokyo, there's not a lot of clouds and the sunlight, the sunbeams bounce off of all the glass windows of all the high rise. So all of the summer. So you would think the building kind of blocks out and gives you some shade, but it's more like a direct tractor beam straight right into you. So I try to duck into as many department stores as possible. But I'm still very grateful to be there. But at least you did it. You missed out on that. You missed out on that. That's the only good thing that you did. You didn't have to hear me complain. However, on November 3rd, if it's raining, that's one thing. But at least it won't be hot. At least it won't be hot.
Well, the big thing is I was talking, this all came up a couple of weeks ago with a mutual friend of ours. Shout out to Arian. Because he's like, hey man, Japan's opening up. When are we gonna go? And he's like the little devil on my shoulder with this, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna, And he's like, no, let's go, man. They're back open. I haven't been in like a couple of years. Like you've never gone. Let's go. And I'm just like. Yeah. Like he's like a pusher. He's like a drug dealer. He's like, come on, man, just a little taste. I'm like, why not? Why not? Well, not to go into anything too personal, but I've had some stuff happen this year that has made me reevaluate life as most of us do as we start getting older. As you can see, so much gray in here now. Meanwhile, Jessica does not age. She has been perpetually 22, for as long as I've known her now. But he kept like, no, come on, like we can just save up for like 6 months. You can do it. I'm like, okay, yeah. I think this set it over. I'm like, no, this is my redemption arc. This is like I again my one regret is not taking up on that that offer when Jessica's like, we're going to Japan in like 4 days. You want to come with? I'm like, no. I will go, and I will be there, and I'm going to see everything. And not only that, I will be in Tokyo for that Godzilla day. The main thing was I initially pitched him like, let's go in October. Let's go for Halloween because I know they go hard on Halloween out there, and I would love to see a Japanese. Look, I've done many Halloweens, including West Hollywood out here. And I want to see Halloween in another country now. So I've done everything that America has to offer Halloween-wise. So it was like a good excuse. And then I'm wait, 3 days later, that's Godzilla Day. And he's like, oh my God, yeah, you're right. I'm like, we stay a few days. And so I sent him the news last night. He's like, all right, we have to be there now. This is almost like fate opening up the curtains. I'm like, hey, look, you just start planning right now. I'm like, yep, this is a sign. This is a sign from a higher power, whatever the universe telling me, the great magnet, like, nope, get your butt to Japan. And you got to watch this movie again. Because again, I've been screaming for years. I'm like, this, Kaz needs to be directing a Godzilla movie. I'm expecting almost a Shin level of like this is something new and bold. This is what I'm expecting. Again,
Okay.
I know you had this whole thing about like you go with no expectations. I'm like, no. Takashi Yamakaze set some expectations. It's like you're going to go watch a Quentin Tarantino movie or you're going to go watch a Martin Scorsese movie. There's expectations now because they have such a bold and wide filmography. It's like, yeah, this dude knows what he's doing, and he's been eyeing to do Godzilla for a long time. This is, God, almost like 15 years in the making at this point. So, it's I will be there, and not only that, but I have just something tells me something big is going to be announced for the 70th anniversary, and I would like to be there to see it. So, and not only that, I want to go to an owl cafe. I just want an owl on my shoulder, on my hand for a minute as I'm eating some crisps. That's all I want in life. It's not much.
There's owl, and then we can go to a capybara. The Zen Buddhist
yes.
animals that get along with everyone. Even alligators don't mess with them.
As my friend calls them guinea pigs.
They are the largest rodents. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of those, and pet them. They're not very soft, y'all. They're
durable animals. Yeah. So now we got a whole year. So now you're already guaranteed you're going to have episodes of us dissecting every bit of news out of this thing, as we did with the last few movies. So gear up for that, and gear up for more long-winded rants from my nonsensical ass. But we digress. There were other things happening on Godzilla Day, were there not, Jessica?
Yes, there are plenty of other things. For those that were manning YouTube or Reddit, there were those. For those who enjoy seeing things in live action, I guess we could continue in our live action news. There were two things that were about 6 to 9 minutes long, I guess, depending on where you watched them. And they were very interesting. One of them, I call it the Dragon Ball Z or the Pacific Rim 2, where gravity means nothing to you, physics. And the other one is more classic, old school, practical effects, the pace that some people are able to happily live by, rather than it seems like everything flies through the air now. And then there is what I like to call the Green Lantern Brightest Day ending to one of them. That was very Jeff Johns. But I don't know which one you saw first. Let's
start with the CG one first, because that was the one that came first. Yeah, and that was the one that was actually so both these projects were announced around the same time. So it feels like this is becoming a brand new tradition, which I am all for, because as you said, any Godzilla is good Godzilla. I love the fact that Toho is making these short films. The only thing I'm a little bummed about is that they seem to scrub them from the internet like immediately afterwards for some reason. But that being said, you can watch the first one that we're talking about, Godzilla versus Gigan Rex, which was a CG smash fest. That's the best way I can talk about it. This was from the people, I have the notes in front of me, that made that G versus G short film, which was Shin fighting the legendary Godzilla. And which, by the way, my God, it's the CG on that is spectacular. So I think this was started as just a short film they were doing on their own. I don't know the whole story behind it. For what I heard, they were showing little snippets of this years ago, and I think it got turned. I think Toho was just like, "That's cool. We'll officially endorse this as part of official Toho merchandise and stuff like that is an official thing." And it did the thing that I love. The thing that in this day and age I love. You played with the lore. And now that you had fun with it. Like when that thing opened, and by the way, it opens with Mike talking. She's narrating it. She's back. And I'm not sure what was being said because there was no subtitles. I have to go look at what the I think someone translated it online. I didn't get a chance to read it, but
I clicked, I think, closed caption or CC.
Did they put the CCs on there?
Yeah,
okay.
on at least where I saw it at, which was the link that you sent me.
Okay, yeah, because Toho did put it on their official on their YouTube page, so I'm assuming it is. Yeah, that one is it's readily available to watch right now if you want to watch it. But oh man, this thing, like I remember I was just sitting outside in my garage last night with my brother, and we were discussing. He's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, this is just like a 6-year-old like dream. Like it's but it's first off beautifully done, beautifully made. Like the CG, like this as just a CG short film, magnificent top to freaking bottom. But it was the opening, so it's Gigan coming through, like taking a jet out, and we just take a shot of just a random city, probably Tokyo, and there's 2 other Gigans, and this third one drops. I'm like, oh, they're playing with the robot. They're playing that he's in a robot. They're like, oh my god, this is awesome. Yeah. And then you pull out, and then there's like a dozen Gigans. I'm like, all right, I'm already sold. Where's this going? The full beam. They're using the beam. The beam. And then all of a sudden, Godzilla shows up. And there is such a beautiful shot from like below of like his tail. And he just starts opening up and just like wailing onto these Gigans. And it was like Neo fighting Agent Smith in Matrix 2, like when he's cloning himself.
Yeah, and gravity has no meaning. Neither does
gravity has no meaning.
It's okay.
Physics are gone. Who cares? It is awesome stuff. And then, so we know it's called Godzilla versus Gigan Rex. They've been teasing this for a while. There's a red Gigan that shows up, and this guy shows up, and you're just like, ooh. And he's all biomechanical. There's no like, piece. There's no like robot piece, actual mechanical pieces on him. And they go again, they go ham with him. Like he opens, like he becomes boss level. This giant eye opens up out of his chest.
He has whips that come out. He has laser whips that come out.
He's got chainsaw whips. It's like that scene in Pacific Rim when Gypsy's fighting Itachi. And, they're like, we're out of options. And Mako's like, we got one. And you just see the sword come out and just connect. And I'm just like, holy crap. Again, like the inner 6-year-old me is losing my mind. And then he goes and then he goes full Angel Evangelion moment. And just that creates this like energy, like halo around it. And I'm just like, holy crap.
And all the little other Gigans, the little other space chickens, they have their little beams that come out and that connect in the circle.
Oh, not only that, but they also got the chainsaw bellies open up and become weapons of their own. I'm like, I can't. There's too much. It's too much. I'm losing my mind. And they just rain down. It's a short 6 minutes long. It's all action, but it was just how it was done. And they're just like wailing on God. And by the way, I love this Godzilla design. It looks like just a refined version of like Shin if he wasn't just all scarred. Like it was just, that perfect amount of like buff, but like angry and just pissed.
Yeah.
And then
and his skin protection was closer to the anime Godzilla trilogy.
Yes.
Of Planet. Yeah.
And they brought back the thing that I love. They brought back the atomic pulse, Jessica. He uses the pulse. My favorite off. Like the fact he's sitting there and they just boom and like they all explode around him. I'm just like, and they did it more than once. Gone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. And when they like just rain down on him, and then like the big explosion, he comes out of it, and he's got his Super Saiyan power up form. Like just turns completely white, and they have that beam battle.
The beam battle, the Dragon Ball moment,
Yes. It's like it's Goku and Frieza like throwing like their attacks at each other, and who's pushing back and got oh my god. I lost it. I was like losing my even my brother's like, dude, like it's 11 o'clock, calm down. I'm like, I can't. This is too much. This is too awesome.
It is like, for those who know, every time Taylor Swift announces an album or drops it, the Twitter meme is I'm laughing, crying, throwing up, and screaming. That's how I felt towards this film, this short film. As I was watching, I was laughing, crying, screaming, and throwing up.
Even Tay herself would have been like, that is impressive.
And yes, that's how I felt. And we got our double spaced chicken. Yeah, but that's how I felt watching, because that's the one that I watched first as well.
Yes,
that's the
one that was
first.
After they aired it, because they aired it early in the stream, so that was aired early on, and then it was just pretty much made readily available. Like if you missed it, like, oh, here you go. So and not only that, the fact that Toho, they embraced it, like they announced, like we'll talk about it in a minute, but there's a figure set coming out. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to save up, but I got toys I gotta buy because I have a problem. So my God, I hope that they embrace this. I hope that, look, last year we got a short film with Hedora.
Yeah.
Plenty good. This year we got 2. I hope that they repeat this thing. I would love, especially, knowing that we know now whose anniversary is next year, we get something super awesome. But this was a little bit of all right all around. Like I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I was just I showed it to people who don't even like Godzilla, and they're like, that was freaking awesome. I'm like, wasn't it? Made you believe again. So
yeah.
The rest of the night goes on, much like last year. The stream caps off with, now hopefully is becoming the traditional short film. So as we said, last year was Godzilla versus Hedora. They that short was, clearly it was like, oh, we're going to do this. What do we got laying around? We got the Final Wars outfits. We'll construct a little set out in the back lot. And it looked fun. It was a fun little film. It was, what it was. This year it felt like, no, we got to up the ante. We got to really we're putting some effort into this. And that's not saying that they didn't put effort in the Hedora one. This one is like, no. They built a brand new Gigan suit for this, the classic Showa Gigan. And by the way, they trugged this thing out, to the people. Looks amazing. There's a great shot of Shinichi Wakasa in the back as the suit's out there. And they got like this shot of him, like he looks like Hulk Hogan cutting a promo, like on Andre the Giant out there. And it was just, I'm like, that's, I hope that they find other things to use this for, because it's such a good-looking suit. But this short film was beyond charming. It was all the things you want. It was classic men in suits whipping each other, and not only that, but so they reused the Final War suit, but they're like, no, we got it up a little more. The shots that they used. Gigan had so much personality too in this. Like it was almost like the face was like moving. I'm like, I know the face isn't moving, but it feels like he has expressions. Especially
Godzilla too. Yeah, Godzilla too. Like when he gets the cut on the cheek and he's just like,
yes. Like, oh, there's blood for the first time in years. There's blood. Oh my God.
He's like, oh my God.
It's like, man, the son of a and so Gigan using the beam in the head, like, oh my God, that was great. And then
when he realizes it doesn't work.
Oh yes, that whole just that. Again, the head only moves so much, but there's literally it was like you could almost see the eyes are like, no, what? It's something you can only do with suits at the charm of the suits.
Yes,
the buzzsaw attack, the cutting of the miniatures so beautifully built. Again, my heart ached. I'm like, we're kind of losing this. Like Ultraman is the only thing doing this right now. And I'm like, I get it. If you want to keep this going, you have to evolve with the times. But this, I'm glad that they're still doing these shorts like this, that they are doing them in this style, because it is keeping it alive in some form. But at the end of the day, it's like, I just, take $3 million and make a fun, smaller budget movie, and like just get the Ultraman guys that are doing the shows currently. Let them direct. Let them hammer something. A fun kids movie. I would love to see this is in full length again. Everybody I talked to after they watched it, like they're like, yeah, I kind of want that back, and we all do. Look, I'm not one to say like it suits or nothing. Look, you have to evolve with the times. And again, a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do suits, and but it's a matter of time and who's building what and how you're shooting it. But like this was just done in that classic, Showa style. It was again, I'm 6 years old. Just I got my copy of Godzilla vs. Gigan for my birthday, and I'm watching it because it's the Scooby-Doo of Godzilla movies, and it's I'm like, God, this is so good. Like a little tear like rolling down my face. I'm just like,
and I love how he gets cut, Godzilla, and he plays like the oh God, I'm dying. Oh, you're cut. He gets close. Gigan gets close, and it's just like nope, faking it the entire time.
And they do the classic trope that once he's been blasted, it's the and then the fall back, and then the smash cut, like the frame cut, and the explosion. Like, God, yes, it's every Power Rangers episode I've ever watched as a kid. It's every Sentai. It's it's everything. Every time you beat the bad guy, that's just they fall forward and a frame missing, and then all of a sudden there's explosions. This was beyond charming. It's been scrubbed from YouTube for some reason. I don't know why Toho's like that. There are other people that have saved it out there. You just got to do a little digging. But it's out there, much like the Hedorah one. It's out there, but I'm hoping that at least they come around to their senses and at least put these on a compilation DVD or something at some point. Because I would love to have these all on home video. These are they're charming as hell.
Yeah,
I love them. I absolutely love them, and I hope this tradition continues because next year's a certain anniversary of a couple other characters, and then. Not only is it the year after that, it's the 70th anniversary of Godzilla, it's also the 50th anniversary of Mechagodzilla. So I would love to see like a classic built for that too, to do these kind of things. But yes, just again, my Grinchy heart just grew 3 times its size, palpitations and all. So yeah. What else we got? My God, there's so much.
Well, you said anniversaries.
Yes.
So they showed some anniversaries. One of them, as I was telling Chris before the recording, cared more than the other.
Oh, blasphemy! Blasphemy!
Blasphemy! People about to find out. Woof.
Tell them who you do not care for, Jessica.
Well, it was really fun. I mean, I saw it, but you were like, no, they, released the logo, symbols for the anniversaries of Jet Jaguar and Megalon, right? And I was like, I love Megalon because he looks like a giant beetle. He's basically a coleoptera, and I love insects. I love entomology. So he basically looks like a beetle. I have never particularly cared for Jet Jaguar.
What?
And I know a lot of people love him. I think it's him, and then like King Caesar. I know that they're fan favorites, and I think you're free to love them. And I know King Caesar looks like a little puppy for a lot of people, and I think it's great. But I actually didn't really care for Jet Jaguar until Singular Point. But are you looking for a Jet Jaguar?
No, I'm looking for someone who disapproves of your disapproval of King Caesar.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't like it, man.
No.
Shame. Shame on your houses.
I saw Jet Jaguar. I was like, okay, look, my mind, I'm in love with like 300 fandoms. So I only have so much room in my brain to hold on to it.
Yes, I know.
So I have chosen in this mental library that Sherlock Holmes has built that Megalon trumps Jet Jaguar. So I saw the Megalon thing. I really like it. I like the colors of it. I like the way it looks. I like the design. And Jet Jaguar was like, okay, these are for the joy of other people.
So I love Jet Jaguar. He is the resident superhero of, the Godzilla world, because they don't count the weird. I thought I saw a shadow. I'm losing it. They don't count Zone Fighter technically, but Jet Jaguar is awesome. I love Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Like many, was one of the first, Godzilla movies we all watched. But it's Jet Jaguar. Like, there's so much. I've always been saying, like, he could have, like, led his own series. Like, they could have done, which, who knows? They could still do, like, I would have watched a whole web series of Jet Jaguar just weekly beating the crap out of monsters. There's so much with Jet Jaguar. But the thing that's the stabbing of my heart, Jessica, is the fact you don't like King Caesar. My God. You love dogs. He's literally, well, he means a lion, technically, but, but he looks like a big puppy.
He does look like a big puppy. Jet
Jaguar
was too human for me. He was too humanoid for me.
True. Well, again, this goes back to the weird conversation my brother and I are having. He's like, why don't they do like more like humanoid things in Godzilla? I'm like, yeah, that's a good question. They only done like so much. Like Jet Jaguar, Gargantuan, not even Gargantuan, Jet Jaguar, Gabra, Kong. Like that's it. Like there's not a lot of like humanoid monsters that they've ever really done in the Godzilla movies.
Yeah, and I'm not really privy to primates. I think they're okay. I mean, did I root for Caesar? In the Planet of the Apes thing? Sure, I did. And I liked Kong recently because of mostly the facial expressions. I'm not really like a primate person. I mean, I love all animals. But definitely, to me, when I was a child, I thought King Caesar was closer to a primate. So that's why when I saw him, I was like, large monkey. And
that's my favorite. That's my all-time favorite Godzilla movie. It's
Mechagodzilla it is a good one. It is a good one.
It's why I take umbrage, but I digress. That said, again, like, believe me, for those listening, Jessica has her, like, believe me, she's very polite when I go on about my love of certain things. And she's just like, that's Zack Snyder movies. But, we digress. So next year will be the anniversary of Jet Jaguar and Megalon. Yeah. So hoping against hope that we will get another short film or maybe 2 short films. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I love this. I hope this tradition continues because it's something fun that they do every year. And it's kind of keeping the spirit alive. So, as for that, and they have, so in about a month, Godzilla. Have you watched Godzilla?
Yes, I have.
The little puppets, which screams Jessica in every.
So cute. So cute.
It is adorable. I love the hell. So they announced that they are doing a big Blu-ray special, which they are recreating Destroy All Monsters. And so they got new puppets, new stuff. Like this new season, they introduced Gigan's parents. So it's Gigan's dad and Gigan's mom, which I'm pretty sure you've seen all of the fan art out there. So when they announced all that stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, we got this big special coming out because this thing has taken off. And I am all for it. I love that. It plays with the lore. It plays with the lore in such a fun way. Like they made Erica, the Biollante girl, a character. And her 2 little Matago twins, her little mushroom people that help her out. Like, all of that stuff. They did an episode where the Rose Biollante fought Death Keeper. I'm like, this is I drew pictures of this when I was like 8 years old. This is all nuts. I love it. They dropped a bombshell a couple of weeks ago for anybody that ever grew up either obsessed over the unmade films or played a ton of Super Godzilla. So part of this DVD release is they are in their own way creating a movie that never got made. They are making Mothra versus Bagan, a short film as part of this. And as someone who's been obsessive compulsive over the idea of Bagan for years, I lost my mind. Shout out to Dopo, by the way. But by the way, many people are like, my God, Toho has finally recognized him. So he'll have his live action debut, and they had the puppet, which it's the size of a suit. The actual puppet is the size of a full 6-foot suit on display. It was amazing. I'm trying to figure out a way to import this DVD when it comes up because I want to see this. It's the idea that they're taking the unmade, it'd be like if today someone said, look, there's the obvious 94 Godzilla script that everyone loves with Godzilla fighting the Griffin. What if we just made a short film that condenses that script? And people will be like, you shut up and you take my money. Because it's that thing that we never got to see. Now someone's putting the effort into it, even if it's in puppet form. So that was out on display. I am as giddy as a little kid on Christmas with that because I have a soft spot for all that stuff. I love Jessica. She's listening to me rant on doing. I'm like, we're total nerd stuff. Let's do an episode of some other unmade crap, and I can hear her going okay, I'll indulge you in your nerdiness on this one. But I cannot wait. I do again. Love Godzilla Band. If you have not watched it, they're catching up on the lost my train of thought. Sorry. It's on the American YouTube Godzilla channel, along with a myriad of other things like Godzilla Chomp, which we need more episodes of. We need more. I need to look in those. I need more adventures in those archives, damn it.
Yes. I think something else that they also announced was Godzilla Island.
Yes.
On US YouTube, because you mentioned American YouTube, the American region.
Yeah, YouTube. So they're finally subbing those episodes. But if you've not seen Godzilla Island, it is nutty. They just took the Bandai toys and they're literally, it's like they're puppets and they're forcing them to bend in ways that they shouldn't because there's someone's finger in there and they're just dancing. If you're watching the YouTube version, I got a little figure. It's just it's dumb stuff like this sprinkled with live action segments. So that's great because it was only released on a DVD in Japan, and there's 136 episodes. It's over 3 hours long, all said and done. Because I think each episode was only there were 5-minute segments before another show. So again, our cup doth overfloweth. There's a little something for everybody. Speaking of which, Jessica, let's talk about some of the merch that was announced this week.
Yes, some of the merchandise. Yes.
Where do you want to start? Do you want to start on the Japanese side or do you want to start on the American side?
We can start on the Japanese side in respect.
In respect.
To everything.
So there was a myriad of Bandais announced this week and last night. Biggest of them all, which won the fan poll last year, and they finally they revealed it about 3 days ago or 3 or 4 days ago in prep for this. Varan is finally getting my shelf is bare of any Varan stuff. As a kid, I'm like, what? He's a flying squirrel lizard. I'm like, he's a cool design. I need a Varan to fill my shelves are empty of certain characters. I don't have a Manda. There's certain characters that never did. We're getting Varan finally. Even it's in the movie monster series, so not the highest of quality now because Bandai doesn't do super detailed. If it's super detailed, you're getting this Muto that's made very well. It's a high end figure. The movie monsters stuff is aimed at kids that they can throw at walls and they won't break because they're just very basic vinyl figures. But any port in a storm for me. I don't want to spend $400 on an X Plus Varan. I live and die by my Bandais. So very happy about that. Last night they put the other big news was if you don't like buying, if you want these figures and you're like, I gotta wait for someone to import these and then I gotta pay a ridiculous price because someone's got to buy it and then they got to resell it. Up until this point, the only people that were offering a similar service was Hobby Link Japan, where you can order directly from them and they'll ship it over to you, but you're still paying $40 shipping at some points. Case in point, I bought this this year for the Gigan anniversary. It's a little acrylic figure that Cass put out of Shukra, the homework monster. $30.
Oh my god.
$30 because it was a rare, because Cass puts out these things rare.
Yeah.
And another $20 for shipping for a thing that weighs about 2.5 ounces in my hand. So that is the problem with international shipping. But I've already looked on eBay, and when he pops up, he's already going for like $90, which I'm like, okay. I need to find Mamagon though. The monster, the mother of two strict monsters. That's the other one I'm missing. So the Godzilla store in Japan have heard the cries of the international fans. They're like, all right, we are opening up the doors for international sales now through a service called Buye, B-U-Y-E, and you can now order directly from the store, and we'll ship it right to you. No longer must you worry about the middleman.
Yes.
So any of these figures that you want that are already available, or if you have paid a slightly exorbitant price, like I have on certain things, you can now save a few shekels, if you will, and it'll come directly to your house. No longer do you have to worry if someone got them in, and if you're the day of the dealer is slowly closing. There's no more bootleg dealers because everything's torrented now, and now there's the resellers are, the middleman's being cut out, and now we're going directly to the source, which I'm all for. I'm always for that, but there's a part of me that does miss the dance of dealing with the dealer. It's like, hey man, did you get this in yet? No. It's like, all right. Well, this guy got it in. Well, how much are you asking? Oh, I want 54. He only wants 48. He's like, oh, he's undercutting. I'm like, I don't care. It's the lowest I have to pay for it. I don't care. As long as I get it, I look at it. Awesome. Yes. Onto the shelf you go and continue my spiral into debt.
And Buye is B-U-Y-E-E.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. For those that are trying to Google it and trying to figure out how to spell it.
So the Verizon was one of the announcements. They did announce again the fact that this shows how much they took it. There is a Godzilla versus Gigan Rex box set you can buy that is part of the Bandai line. So you get Gigan Rex and you get that version of Godzilla, which now I have to get it because I'm a completionist. And they dropped a bombshell on us that they are making a brand new sculpt of the 84 Godzilla. If you know your Bandai's, he was one of the first, but they based it on the Cybot, the big robot design, which had the big humpy camel nose, as I call it. This one actually looks like the suit, which is awesome because the only other way you could get it was through a super expensive box that they put out for the 50th anniversary that now goes for like $1,100 online. So for those of you that missed out like I did, we can now grab it. There was a leak of new announcements that are coming that some dealers have already put up. And among them were Final Wars Hedorah, finally, because they never did a 6-inch figure of that character. This one really got me giddy. Final Wars Manda. Finally getting a Manda figure. Finally. So many years. I just want my snake. I just want my big, long snake. This one for Jessica. This one is another one that people have been clamoring for forever. Has never been done as a Bandai Ibra. You get your lobster,
my screaming lobster. My screaming lobster.
Yes, he is coming finally. They are making a figure of him. Thank the gods. It's again like it's long overdue. So there's that. They're doing another 2004 Godzilla. And there was the announcement of a new King Ghidorah sculpt from 91, and there was a new 93 Mechagodzilla, which I got enough of. Like, I got so many of those already. I don't need any more unless they're doing it with the Garuda pack. That's the only way I want it. They have announced non-Godzilla figures as well in this line. Recently, Daimajin just came out, which I had in my hand the other day. And I'm like, no, I gotta wait. A Batra, which these I'll be picking up in a few weeks. And there's a brand new Gamera 2 sculpt, which actually looks a lot better than the original one that came out years ago. There will be a Legion soldier. There's Avas. They're doing Avas in this line. And they announced there was oh my god, I'm blanking on them. There was one more. There was a big thing. There was I want to say they were doing, there was an anime that they were doing that's part of this line. I think there was another Shin related. Oh, the Shin, that's what it was. The Shin Ultraman monsters, which I get my Shin Gomes. I can't wait. I've been waiting for that since I saw that picture show up. So I am ecstatic. So I already got the first couple of Shin figures. And Gomez will go right there with my Ultramans, and I will just stare at him like that was $45 well spent. For a 6-inch figure.
Priorities.
The big priorities. So this is the problem. If I get to Japan next year, all the stuff is just going to be sitting out, and I'm going to be like when I was 10 years old and those Trendmasters hit the shelves for the first time. My mom's like, you can get one. And it was like,
you're an adult now. Here. You're an adult now with your own money.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to show you where to get cheap luggage because I had to do this.
Yes. That our friend Larry even said, like, dude, if you go, you go the last day because you will spend all your money like in Akihabara, like the first. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I have a problem. So I impulse control is something as a nearly 40-year-old man, I'm just now learning. And I will have to really, really deep down, like master that because I'm just going to want everything. So let's go over to the American side.
Yes.
Because Toho has, Toho America has been partnering with a lot of good people for a lot of fun stuff. A few things Jessica and I already have. Let's start with Mondo. Mondo.
Yes. Yeah.
Announced a string of new things. Jessica, go ahead.
They announced a wonderful Godzilla statue that does look similar to one that was released before. However, Chris was also telling me pre-broadcast or I guess recording, there is interchangeable with Mothra's larvae. So
it's the Tokyo.
Yes. Some people said it looks similar, but you like it. I think it looks gorgeous.
I've seen it in person. They had it at Comic-Con on display, and I'm like, okay, that one I'll buy. And then they announced the price for it, which is $585. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just wait. Yeah.
Is that how much it was the first one?
No, they've been ranging from like $300 to $400. So this is, I'm assuming because the Mothras are like an added pieces to the sculpt. They've added, and the fact that it's interchangeable, the version that they had on display at Comic-Con, they had the Mothra biting his tail on one. So it's the twin Mothras. And then the other one, like at the base. And look, people were like, I don't like. I'm like, no. You got to see this thing in person. This sculpt is immaculate. My God, the pictures do not do it justice. Like that, to the point I'm like, look, I own one of Mondo's maquettes. I own Mondo's maquette of the Colossal monster from Colossal because they had it on sale for $70. I'm like, I will buy that. It's a fantastic sculpt, and I know a lot of people have enjoyed them. They love the Mothra one that came, the Biollante one. I've heard great review, but this piece, like, I'm like, when I come back from Japan next year, I'm like, I will be buying. This is a signature piece. Like, they outdid themselves with this thing. It's massive and it is gorgeous. It's absolutely stunning.
Yes. They still save up your dollars for those who want it. They also announced a couple posters and a vinyl that was delayed for a little bit.
Yes. So
that was gorgeous. It had Mothra. It has Mothra on the vinyl.
Oh yeah, it's the Godzilla. It's the 92 movie.
Yes.
It's the it threw a lot of people off. They're like, wait, why is it the 2004? I'm like, it got delayed. I don't know if there was maybe because they used the wrong image or something like that, but they said there was a pressing issue. So for you vinyl collectors out there, this is a big. Again, I gotta give it to Mondo, man, because they've been hammering out these vinyl releases, and I'm not a vinyl guy. Like, music is not my biggest thing, but the people I talk to, they're like, no, you have no idea. These are high-end, high quality. The fact that they released the soundtrack to the 96 Mothra, I'm like, all right, you guys have my attention for anything. By the way, I quietly love that movie, and I love that soundtrack. I love it to death. Like that do 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 do. It's so like it's such a fantasy, like it's such a fantasy score, and it's just so like endearing and heartwarming. I'm like, at this, I almost want to go buy like an old record player just so I can have this thing, so I can just play it in the background all the time.
Yeah, I have an old school antique record player, complete with gramophone.
Oh, really? Wow.
But I also wrestle between keeping my records pristine and using them.
Yes, I had someone explain to me the appeal of vinyls and what goes into uptaking them. I'm like, oh, it's not just the sound. Like there's a whole physical aspect to them. Like you have to wipe them down. You have to keep, you have to clean the thing. I'm like, okay, so it's like any other collection. Like there's a physical aspect to it.
Yeah.
So I will just stick with my MP3s because, like, I'm a movie guy. I live and I understand the appeal of the vinyl because I still buy DVDs. Like they are kind of going out of business. They're becoming boutique. So I'm hopping onto, like, believe me, I just dropped $40 on Top Gun Maverick, which I've already watched like 3 times already too. So, but yeah, I get it. I understand it. I have like 2,000 DVDs sitting in the other room right now. I got 180 of them I still need to watch in the next couple of months that I bought over the last like year and a half. I'm like, I gotta watch these. But I get it.
Yes.
It's the love. It's the love of it all.
It is the love.
Like I've seen collections that are like, I'm just like, God, that's a whole 10-foot wall. It's all vinyls. So
I actually also have a Laserdisc collection.
Now that I can respect that the video file in me, I'm like, yes, damn it, yes, that is you and like 3 other people I know. We have a mutual friend that has his laser. He's been really going deep on his Laserdisc collection. Part of is because Book Off started selling Laserdiscs. They started taking them in. So, and some of them are going for like a lot of money now. Like there was a point they're like $20 a day. Now, like I think now because people are like, I love my, there's a weird love for some obsolete media. There are people I know that collect cassettes. I'm like,
yes,
look,
I still have,
I'm like,
cassettes,
okay.
CDs,
yes. CDs, yes. I understand the CD and I understand the vinyl. Cassettes weren't the best quality in they you
had to
Laserdisc
with your pencil.
Yes. Oh my God! If your player ate the thing, but it was the one cool thing about them was all you had to do is you got a recorder, and you got later on the actual like tape decks. They recorded the radio, so you can record all of the songs that you were either too poor or too cheap to buy, and you got the radio edits, and you create a compilation tape that you'd listen to in PE because they're like, yeah, bring your Walkman. Who gives a crap? So,
yes.
Yeah.
And recently, a Blockbuster just dropped on Netflix. They don't pay us to say this. Randall Park, Melissa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. VHSs, so VHSs are a whole thing. And
I was at Monsterpalooza a few weeks ago, and VHSs are becoming a big collector item. I know some people are buying them and slabbing them. Basically, they're getting them graded. But to be fair, I still understand the appeal of the VHS because whenever we move up into a new format, this is why I am all day, every day hammering physical media. When we made the transfer to DVD, there was so much stuff that never got transferred to that format. And not only that, part of it was rights issues. Like there were so many things that like, oh, we can't issue it because that song on there, like it would, now it costs a ton of money, or there are certain edits or stuff like that. So owning, like, again, Aladdin, the only way you can get Aladdin in its original form is by having the VHS with the original version of the opening song that Robin Williams sings, because It was the only way it got out. There was, Star Wars it technically is still the only way you get those movies in their purest form. So I understand. I still have a lot of VHS. I have stuff that never got transferred, has never been uploaded. There's so much, especially in my Asian collection, like from Hong Kong and Japan. There were so many of V Cinemas films that were so like in Cat 3 like movies that I'm like, this never got transferred. There was one I've been hunting for years called ironically The Cat, that someone finally put up, and it was like, I'm like, what's transfer look like? They're like, it's from like a kind of okay like DVD release that they put out years ago. That's our source. I'm like, all right, well, hey, any port in a storm at this point. So
yeah,
but yeah, I understand that whole thing. And now I think SRS, they've actually been putting out some VHS releases with theirs. So I got 5 VCRs sitting in this house. I'm good to go. My grandmother did not give up that format until 2016. So
be kind, rewind. It is now a T-shirt slogan. So no, I get it. I get it. I also got a lot of my laser discs from like 3 thrift shops, book offs as well. Get them all over the place. Started like did it throughout high school and college. Did not care that I was made fun of.
No, never feel ashamed for your collection, especially knowing one day you will be laughing at these people. My buddy used to laugh. He's like, buy DVD and like everything's on digital. I'm like, no, because you read it. Because again, I was onto Apple early, and they're nonsense. And I was just like, look, they will take these things away from you, or the worse in this day and age, like they'll like take it, edit it, like they'll remove songs, they'll remove scenes. They're like, people are like, yeah, we can't have that anymore. I'm like, I'm sorry, I want the thing as it was originally intended. Like again, going back to the Star Wars thing, I don't mind the special editions, but there's a part of me like I would love to have the originals in their original form on like HD DVD at some point. But that feels like that ship has sailed long ago. So I still have my box set with the Fox Video logo on the Fox CBS logo on the side. So I still got when THX, when they were promoting the hell out of that thing. So never feel ashamed for your collection. Certain things, again, streaming's fine and all, but it's not the end all to be all, and nothing stays on there forever, as we've been finding out the last few months. So
yes.
Let's we're running. There's so much today. Real quick,
Godzilla Day. It's Godzilla
It is true. This is true. So Super 7 announced their next line of reactions. So it will be they're doing the King Kong versus Godzilla, the 62 suit. They are doing the 84 suit. Hedorah is in there. Gigan, Mechagodzilla, and King Ghidorah.
Yes.
So those are the Mechagodzilla. Oh, the Mechagodzilla, because they like doing these little, the stuff that they, no one else is doing. So the first wave, they put out the 57 Godzilla, which was the fabled volcano monsters suit. They got lost. And we're doing a reaction to that. I'm like, oh my God, I have mine sitting waiting to be opened. I'm like, that stuff, you give me that stuff. I'm like, I am sold all day, every day. The Mechagodzilla that they're doing is the half transformed one. So he's got the skin on the pieces. I'm like, yes, you have sold me on that. Their ultimate lines. I don't know if you saw these, Jessica. Did you see the Destroyer set that they announced?
Yes, I did.
My God, the meltdown Godzilla. That popped open, and I'm just I was shoving my money into the screen. I could not have clicked buy fast enough. You're giving, and not only that, but you got the skull, the flesh is coming. I'm like, that's metal. That is metal as hell. The Destroyer, and not only that, I saw the pictures of them because they were at New York Comic Con. I'm like, these things are huge. They're gigantic. And I've seen people for $104. I'm like, You're $104. You're getting a figure. By the way, I love my action figures. I have been collecting for years. And I understand things have gotten more expensive and things, are. But the amount of complaints over nonsense is just, I'm like, nope, no. You don't get to complain. Like when we were kids, we were lucky we got a face sculpt that looked like a face. Like half the stuff was just like putty put together. The fact that we have a articulated meltdown Godzilla with the one skeleton zombie hand and the half melted face, I'm like, we're getting a zombie Godzilla essentially. I'm like, you shut up and you take all my money. The Destroyer's massive. He looks awesome. But that meltdown Godzilla, I'm like, that is the greatest thing that anybody has done in the last. I have not been this excited for a figure since the aforementioned Ride X Plus was announced. So
yes, I loved it. I love it. I actually have it screenshot on my phone, but I was too terrified to check for the price.
It's only $85. It's only 85, which is actually very reasonable because, again, here's the thing with the Super 7 stuff. They're done in limited quantities, so they will retain their value. If you get it on order, then they make some extras. If you don't get in that initial run, then you're going to be paying aftermarket prices for them. But they are well worth it. Their ultimate lines are damn good. Like I all the love for Super 7 because they're doing a hell of a job over there.
My shirt's from Super 7.
Yes.
My shirt is from Super 7, yes.
Actually, there's a Jet Jaguar one I got on hold down there with him giving the thumbs up. So I gotta go pick that one up. And then for those who don't like to sleep in the dark, they FYE announced a few things they were doing today. There was the Meltdown Godzilla Pop, which was from King Kong versus Godzilla. So that was it was just a repaint, but with the red. But they announced this really awesome desk lamp, which is the actual Meltdown Godzilla from Destroya. He's got like a circle of fire around him. You plug him in, and he's a nightlight.
Yeah, he is.
Glows. And I'm just like, that. For those who have little kids or those who think the shadow people are coming for you during the middle of the night, this will keep all that away. Yes.
That's me. So
the night terrors have gotten to me.
Yeah, I'm not I wear glasses, so I do have a natural, I panic when I can't see. That includes darkness. So even if I have my glasses. So have a light.
I live in a giant house that's 60 plus years old, and my aunt has always told me, she's like, I am 99% sure this house is haunted. And believe me, there are times I'm like, I'm downstairs on my own, and it sounds like someone's walking around up here. Thank you. X out. It's up there with the time. Like I had wicked insomnia. I'm like in my mid-20s. I just couldn't sleep. My buddy told me, hey, just pop some NyQuil. That'll knock you right out. I'm like, okay. First night, no problem. Slept like a log. The second night, I think I woke up. I was having like a nightmare. No. And in the nightmare, I'm in my room, like as it's like I'm cognizant of what's around me, and there's a gray, bald man in a suit with no eyelids and no lips, just staring right over me. And I go, and I wake up. And I look across my room, and I had a pile of clothes in my closet open, and I'm fully awake. And I swear to God, I saw footsteps in the closet, and the clothes in my closet swing. I'm like, nope, no more. I've never taken NyQuil since. So I'm like, I don't need to. I don't know if I don't need to be hallucinating this stuff, or I don't need my whatever pineal gland in my brain that NyQuil is stimulating for me to see hell dimensions. So I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So a nightlight for those who do not want the shadow people to come in at night, or if you were like me as a child, afraid aliens were going to abduct you out of your room, and you had to have a light on to keep them away because they knew you were up and that they can't get you when you're awake.
I still close all doors at night, closet doors, and I have a bed that doesn't have space on the bottom. So the platform goes all the way down. So I don't need to check under the bed.
As we've seen from the Howie Mandel movie, Little Monsters, that's how you keep them out of your room.
Yeah. No, my bed frame is completely solid. Goes all the way around. They ain't nobody.
Yeah, I need to work on mine. Mine's getting up there in age. I need to replace it. I'm thinking of doing the whole solid bed frame as well. I still got box springs. I'm living in the Stone Age over here. So I think that is about everything. I think we've done it all.
They have a couple things. It was already announced, so it's actually pre-Godzilla Day, but it goes through. I know that Godzilla teamed up with a sweets bakery factory down in Irvine.
I completely forgot about this.
Yeah, yes. There's a couple things. And this is where
this actually was because you're in. This is in my neck of the woods. This is
yes,
this is not too far from me. And I was actually going. There was me like they're doing it one more. They're doing it this Saturday.
Yeah, yes, they are.
So if you're hearing this, if you're in the Southern California area in Irvine, go to the Irvine Spectrum.
Yes.
But there is it's what they're called. What honey?
Honey butter or something.
Yeah, honey butter. That's what it was.
And there's a reason why it's not in my brain.
I literally, as part of me was like, I should call Jessica. This feels like the thing she would love to go do.
Because it's so cute. It is very cute. The Godzilla that they have designed.
And here's the thing. I thought you liked macaroons because you went so gaga over this Totoro macaroon that you brought back, with you. You brought back from Japan, right?
I did. I took it back. He is inside of a glass container, sealed in a freezer of my best friend's house, like Han Solo and Carbonite. He is still there. It has been like 6-7 years. He's still living in the freezer. Yeah, every time I take out food, I look at him because I love my little Totoro macaroon. And Chris found out something today through text.
Yes.
Through text. And I was, the thing is, I didn't get to go down. Like, I saw the pictures. I saw everything when I saw the initial announcement. I actually dislike macaroons more than my love for Godzilla.
But this was breaking news to me. This was absolutely breaking news. This woman loves everything cute. She loves sweets.
Yes, I do. I do.
And so I thought this was a slam dunk. I'm like, I'll give her a call. She can drive down. We'll meet. We'll go from my house. We'll go down there. We will go check this out. They got they're selling exclusive merchandise. They have little Mothra. They have little Mothra. And then I find out, oh no, I hate macaroons. I'm like, you held a gun to my head. You held a gun to my head. I would have never thought that. I'm like, no, of course. She's Jessica. She's sweet and cute. And I'm like, this is right up her alley. Nope. That's a nope. That's a nope.
I got a single text back from Chris that said, "Oh snap," and I was like, I dislike macaroons. People love them, and that's great. They're not personally for me, However, also at the time of the initial announcement, it was mostly just Godzilla and the macaroons. I didn't get to see any of the merchandise. And Irvine is closer to Chris's neck of the woods than me, and due to LA traffic, what should be a 40-minute drive is almost a 2-hour drive. Yes. And I didn't want to drive down 2 hours for merchandise that I wasn't going to like anyways.
Exactly.
Or I didn't need to have. But I did get to live vicariously through many friends who got to go, and they were very excited to see it.
This brings up a point, because when I talk to people about this show, so we love the show. It's like, why don't you and Jessica do them together a lot more? Like you're always doing them over Skype. And I'm like, where do you guys live? I'm like, I think from my door to your door is 32 miles. It's really not that far in the grand scheme of things. But for those who don't know Southern California, you might as well be in China. You might as well be in China.
The 5 freeway, never complete. For those who know.
No, I live in Orange County. She lives out in the valley. You need to pack supplies to get out there. Unless you're driving at between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., which then it's this is what normal time would be if there wasn't traffic. No, it's a 4. It took me one day. I had to drive out to Lancaster, at like 8 in the morning. Lancaster is about 95 miles up in the high desert from here. So it's not close, but it's not exactly that far. It's about the same distance as if we drove to San Diego.
Yeah.
4.5 hours to get home. 4.5 hours. I had to kill time at the Vasquez Rocks because I'm like, the traffic is atrocious. And I took side streets all the way home because it was quicker than fighting the freeway.
No,
for those of you who have never dealt with LA traffic, it breaks your psyche. Like, spies wish they had this kind of torture to get information out of people, because when you're sitting in your car and you're just going, and it's just tap the brake, tap the brake, tap the brake. You go insane. So this is why, because we do it so late, and we do it. This is part of the reason we do it late, and why we do it like this is because, hey, we could do it at 6. Oh, it's going to take me 3.5 hours to get to your place, or you to get to mine. So
yeah, and I like driving, and I'm already like,
as do I.
It's a thing. So I lived vicariously through people's Instagram photos and Facebook for that. In the same realm, we all have in common is that we have to eat food to survive. So you go to GodzillaFoods.com, and there are Godzilla Day foods. And well, it's all the hot sauces and everything is like always there. However, there's like ramen, and there's all these other wonderful things that are also there as well.
I actually saw the ramen at FYE. Which it's a chub pack of like 10 for like $14. So I've been like, I'm thinking of because I'm sitting on video. Jessica and I shot way back in March, and life has just been hectic. Like, when at the peak of her working with Comic-Con, when we had to take a hiatus because more important things were happening. I went down to San Diego. I shot some stuff, and I'm like, "You're here, we're here. Let's shoot all this." I shot some stuff with some friends with the hot sauce, and I keep getting a text like, "Hey, you ever gonna do something with that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like I need to get around to that." So we actually reviewed the hot sauces, which were actually really good. I actually love they were actually damn good. I want to try the dry rubs. I'm not a coffee guy. Someone we got a thing of the coffee. I do not like coffee at all. I'm not a coffee guy in any means. You hand me a cup of coffee, I'm just like, no. I love green tea. I love tea. Yes, I love hot tea. Yeah. I'm a hot tea guy all day, every day. I don't like coffee. So I'm like, the coffee stuff does nothing for me. Part of me wanted to try the creatine. Like, they put out the protein powder. I was like, I don't know if I want to spend $80 on that right now, but
they have hot chocolate. I went to the site, and they have a Godzilla hot chocolate, and it's always cold to me. I'm always cold, or burning hot apparently, very cold. So I'm like, I'm gonna try Godzilla hot chocolate.
I ever since I was a kid, like, I feel like an old man. I can't really drink hot. Like, it always gives me like indigestion. I don't know what it is about it, but like, just like, ugh, like I don't. I'm not a too picky of an eater, and Jessica knows this famously. I hate avocados. I'm born and raised in California, Southern California. They are the devil's fruit. I will not touch avocados. I have learned to pass over them when I go eat sushi, because they put them in sushi, in all sushi out here. So I don't want to be that guy that's like, poke, and there's a plate like I'm a 6-year-old just picking at it. I'm like, I will power through it. But for the most part, to devil fruit, go to hell. Like, I don't. There are those things that like I can't do. And hot chocolate and coffee are like, it just, hot chocolate in general just makes me nauseated. Coffee, I just don't like the taste of it. It is not my thing. Then again, I drink Rock Stars every morning like a fiend, so I have no room to talk.
Is it the hot milk hot milk that kind of makes you the dairy?
The dairy, actually, I have no problem with dairy. Like, I know
hot,
people,
but hot dairy is different.
It is different. I don't know what it is, but it's like, you know what? There's a similar. It might be a similar. It might be a dairy, because when I eat certain cookies like fresh out of the oven, super hot, like I do get a little nauseated from that. And this isn't like, oh, you're getting older. Like, no, even as a kid, like, they kind of made me not. For the most part, I have no problem with. I literally have no problem with dairy. I eat, I've been on keto, and I just snack on cheese all day, and I love milk. I can take it all, but there is certain, maybe it's because but I cook everything in butter
Yeah. Yeah.
or coconut oil. And it's like, so it's very weird. There's something about hot chocolate, like certain cookies fresh out of the oven. I'm just like, this is like not settling well. I don't know what it is. I never figured it out, but
Yeah.
those kinds of things just don't sit well with me. So I've never tried it. I did want to try the dry rub because I'm a barbecue guy and I love barbecue. So I wanted to give that a shot. I do love, again, as a kid, Godzilla themed foods. I'm just like, yeah, I'm all in on that. Do you remember as a child the Godzilla bubble gum?
Yes. Yeah.
Someone thought I was telling this to a friend. They're like, "You're nuts. That didn't exist." I'm like, "No, it exists." I took a little search, but I found it. I remember these things. There was a Godzilla one. I think there were some other monsters, but they were like these sugar-coated, crappy bubble gum. They weren't good, but they were still bubble gum. And you got like a bag of it. I think they're made by the people who made Big League Chew because they came in that same bag.
I was gonna say, yeah, it reminds me of the Chew.
Yeah. Which, when you were a kid and you felt like you were an adult, dipping. My dad dipped all the time, so he always thought it was funny. I'm just like, you end up putting half the bag in your mouth, and it's like chewing a sock after about 5 minutes. And you're 8 years old. It's like, how is it? You're like, it's all right. And it's just this. It looks like you just chewed on the blob, like as you spit it out, like this giant. Like you're 8 years old and you're chewing on something half the size of your head. So, but again. It's a great time. I go on this jag half the time on the show, but I really wish people would just appreciate the stuff that you are given. I don't feel people appreciate the things we get today. People are spoiled, especially these stinking kids. They're all spoiled, Jessica. Again, like you and I came up in a generation where the movies around Japan. You had to go to a Comic-Con to buy the bootleg because that was the only way you were going to watch the new movie with some horrible fan sub. Or if you were even more unlucky like I was, a couple of those bootlegs weren't dubbed over correctly, so they were just all go static halfway through the action scenes, and I got robbed of $20. So everything's there's so much now.
Yes.
Just appreciate it. That's the thing. Yes. You don't have to collect it all. You don't have to you don't even have to collect anything. You can get one thing that you enjoy, and that's it. But there's just like the nitpicking I see from people now. I'm just like, especially when they're our age or older, I'm like, you of all people should know better because you know what the dry times were. You know what the bad times were. There was nothing for years. So and now there's just so much. So
there is. And there's also for me the added layer of how should I say? I mean, I don't have a problem with whatever, but you ask my parents or you ask my grandparents, and for one, they don't know where to get it, and English was limited to them at the time. They don't know what a Comic-Con is. They don't know to take their kid to one and ask for something bootlegged. So all of our CDs and bootleg DVDs was like of East Asian shows, right? There wasn't anything. And also there was the added layer of unhappiness from World War II. So they're like, you are not having anything Japanese in this house. So I had like a double layer to add on top of that. So now you're adult with your own money. And now it's a lot more, there's more of it to consume, as we were talking about our dry period. And now we get to have almost every, you can have Funkos that are just, there are stores in the mall that are just Funko stores. And you get to go and then you get to take your Godzilla that you want. Or you can go on Etsy and someone will custom make you something. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have it so good now. And I think there's a gratitude and appreciation for that.
There should be. There absolutely should be. The fact there's a Hot Wheels monster truck that just came out this week. Godzilla, which I know Jessica is very excited about.
Yes,
Let's just appreciate it all. We have a brand new movie, T-minus 365 days from this day.
Yeah.
There's and on the American side, The MonsterVerse stuff is still going strong. There's a King Kong animated show, which eventually is going to be hitting Netflix. There's the Monarch show, which should be coming out sometime next year. There is a sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong. Not only the fact that we got a rematch of those two in any form in this modern age, but now we're getting a sequel to that.
Yes.
Just
appreciate
it.
I also, something that I kind of did not see coming is her Instagram is spelled Vivxue, Vivian Shu Rehay, Rehay. I apologize if I said your last name wrong. Who's also the CEO of Pampered Nails Gallery. So it's two, like she I assume owns and operates both of her Instagrams. Both wonderful numbers of followers. She makes amazing nail art. So she's kind of also, and she's got a TikTok, I believe. Also, an influencer in her own right, because during the lockdown, she did a lot of really beautiful pop culture fan art nails, acrylic nails, and she did Godzilla. And it was mentioned on several sites that when you actually watched her video, she was able to announce it. I believe somebody official reached out to her, I believe. And then when you did it, they were heat activated. She draws details on them. It's like acrylic, like a whole scene just comes to life with your nails. Even with Instagram, knowing that it exists, I would never think that on Godzilla Day, you would have a wonderful, talented person who kind of has her own business, her own art, and an influencer teaming up to do Godzilla nails that like activate or glow in the dark or whatever it is under heat and light. And it's gorgeously painted and done, and was cited on several Godzilla sites, news sites. So that was something that I also didn't see coming. And for those who like having nail art, it's just something that you wouldn't expect Godzilla ramen, or you wouldn't expect this. And I thought it was, we live in pop culture, at least for me and Chris's point of view, gratitude times, blessing times.
Yes. So as I'm in 2 days' time, I'm gearing up to go watch all 3 of the Heisei Gamera films in downtown LA with a bunch of buddies.
Yeah.
So
like
these are yes, I know sometimes the world might seem like it sucks, but there's so much more out there, and there's so much there's a reason why we love this stuff. It's escapism at its best, and they're just throwing so much of it at you at this point that's like. It's like saying, "Hey, my filet mignon is not cooked right. Like this is not as good as the filet." It's like, be grateful. Just be grateful. All right.
Yes, and now people can have legendary American Godzilla versions. Now they finally, for those that have been asking, now have a Japanese. Like bred and raised, and then you have those who like both.
It's all good.
So there's something for everyone.
Again, like I sat here with you defending those anime movies. Like again, to me, it's all good. Like it's like again, like I know I just said at the top of the show, like my least favorite movie was playing tonight, but it's not like I'm like, oh, that movie sucks. I'm just like, no, it's a little boring to me. I love Tokyo SOS, so I can't have that movie without this, and I will still go back and watch that, and watch against Mechagodzilla. But again, any Godzilla is good Godzilla. I welcome it all. I welcome all the interpretations at this point. Then my only thing I ask is like, just don't keep repeating the same thing. We learned from the 90s and the 2000s. Just give us something new, and I want some new monsters. I want some new fun. I want some new adventures. Yes, bring back the old guys, but at least keep moving forward. So
yes.
Part of the reason why I love Singular Point, which you and I got to sit down and review that one day. Like it was we lost track of that we lost track of a few things last year that I think we need to go back in a couple of weeks.
Singular Point. I did like that one much more than the anime trilogy, which had amazing concepts. That one we did talk about.
Yes, we did.
But I did Singular Point. I did very much enjoy.
So there's a few things we need to go back and look at, but there's actually a lot of things coming up. In fact, I think beginning of December, there's a brand new Norwegian monster movie, giant. You can almost say it's a Norwegian kaiju film called Troll. coming to Netflix, which I lost my mind over. I'm like, that's an episode. We're going to review that when that comes out.
I was so excited. I had one of those moments where you lean forward on the couch, and I'm just like, yes, I was so excited.
It's from the director of the new Tomb Raider, but he also made this fantastic disaster movie called The Wave, which I love a lot. So, again, our cup overfloweth, and we're pushing 2 hours at this point. So I think this is a good time to wrap it up. So on that note, Jessica, where can the good people find more of us?
Yes, the Kaiju Kingdom podcast.com, the Kaiju Kingdom, that is, or .com. That's actually our official URL. We are also on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, which thank you for everyone who's always interacting. For those who ask, you are mostly interacting with Chris. He basically keeps us alive. Yes. And he's been wonderful in also posting the news before we do an episode about it. Or things that are a little bit more nuanced or new that we don't necessarily have time to go over in our podcast. So we are actually found there in all of our social media, and also the Kaiju Kingdom podcast at gmail.com or the Kaiju Kingdom at gmail.com. You can email us as well if you would like to say things privately. So there's also that. And then Chris, you also put us all over our actual podcast and our YouTube.
Yes. So yes, the YouTube is up, and as you can see from this episode, we're up and running. I have the I have video from the last episode we did with Paul Flight, the author of Kim Jong-il production. I still have to put that up. I wanted to make some edits to that real quick. But if you heard if you heard the audio version, the video version will be up, and I'm adding some of the stuff we talked about in there, some of the pictures and stuff. So that's what's taking so long with that. But ton of YouTube content that I'm sitting on. I'm just not getting to editing because life is crazy. But now finally around my household, it's finally cleaned up a bit, so I can start hammering at this. And if you want to support us, people keep saying like, yeah, you have merchandise and stuff. I'm like, we're working on that. That's all money that comes out of our pockets on a lot of this stuff. So we are not rich by any means. So if you want to support us, our YouTube channel is now monetized. So if you want to support us anyway, listen to the episodes. I'm uploading the archive of our episodes on YouTube. They're audio only for the most part. Going forward, we're going to try to do as many of the video shows as possible. We're not going to be able to do every one of them just for scheduling reasons, but we'll try to, especially if we get guests and stuff on here, we'll try to keep it with that. But there's a lot of other content that'll be thrown up there. I'm working on a couple episodes of our coffers, some other fun things. Like I said, we got the review of the hot sauces, fun things, just fun YouTube-y things, short, digestible for those that don't want to sit in front of their computer for 2 hours like tonight. So but yeah, if you want to support us, that's the way to go about it at this point. And we're working on some other things that eventually, it's all baby steps with us, even though we're going into our 10th year next year. So actually, if we make that Japan trip, that will be our 10th anniversary.
Ooh, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
To do a show from Japan. That is the dream.
That would be amazing. Yes.
That's what that's what we're going to aim for. So, all right. On that note, that will do it for this edition of the Kaiju Kingdom podcast and this glorious of all glorious days, Godzilla Day. For myself and
Jessica.
Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.